Hey everyone, today we're diving into a really powerful idea from the book of Joshua, specifically chapter 13. We'll be pulling some great insights from a sermon by Reverend Wonchul Park to help us unpack this key concept, inheritance. So what does that word even mean in this context? Let's get right into it.
So, picture this. For years and years, the people of Israel have been fighting. War after war, battle after battle, all to possess the promised land of Canaan. And now, the major battles are finally over. The book of Joshua kind of reads like this long list of victories, right? But that brings up a huge question. After all the fighting is done, what comes next? You see, the story is about to make a massive pivot. We're moving from a story of conquest to a whole new chapter about distribution.
And to really get a grip on this new phase, we have to zoom way in on one single critical keyword. And that word is inheritance. Now, when you hear that, you might just think about, getting a piece of property from your family. But in the Bible, it is so much more than that. It's this really rich, complex idea that's got multiple layers. It's about a mission you have to fulfill, but it's also about the source of life you should be grateful for. Okay, so at this point in the story, Joshua's getting pretty old. We're talking maybe 90 years old. And God comes to him and says, hey, there's still a lot of land left to take. But here's the kicker. The strategy is about to do a complete 180. No more massive, unified war with everyone fighting together. God introduces a totally new game plan for finishing the job. It's a real paradigm shift.
So, think about the old way, right? That was all about united conquest. You had all 12 tribes fighting as one single army, with Joshua at the head. But the new way? It's all about tribal responsibility. The land actually gets divided up before it's even fully conquered. And from now on, each individual tribe is in charge of securing its own territory. It's a brilliant strategic move, really. You're going from the centralized command to a totally decentralized mission.
And this is where we get to the first core meaning of inheritance. This is so important. It is not some kind of retirement gift where you just get to kick back and enjoy the view. Nope, it's a mission. Each tribe was handed this profound duty, this sacred responsibility to establish God's kingdom right there in their specific piece of land. Their job was to cultivate it, to care for it, and to make it flourish.
Okay, but what does this have to do with us today? Well, this ancient idea has a direct parallel in our own lives. Your family, your friendships, your workplace, your community, these are your modern inheritance. These are the spheres of influence that you've been given. I mean, think about it for a second. Your family isn't just a bunch of relatives. It's a place where you're called to cultivate patience and love. And your job? It's not just about the paycheck. It's a space to build with integrity and excellence. These are the mission fields we're all called to tend.
But here's the crucial part, and this is such a relief. God doesn't just hand them this incredibly difficult mission and then, disappear. Not at all. He makes this incredibly powerful promise right alongside the command. He says, I myself will drive them out. What he's really saying is, look, this is your responsibility, for sure, but you are not doing it alone. I'm going to fight with you, and I will make sure you succeed. It's a mission that comes with a divine partnership.
Now, a mission this huge, well, it requires fuel, right? It demands sustenance, and that brings us right to the second layer of this whole inheritance concept. See, inheritance isn't just a heavy responsibility you have to carry, it's also the very provision that keeps you going. Remember, back in the wilderness, the Israelites were fed by manna that just fell from heaven. But the moment they got to Canaan, the manna stopped. Why? Because the land itself, their inheritance, was now meant to be their source of food, their source of joy, their source of everything they needed.
And when we talk about provision, there is a giant warning label attached, a really big one. And it says, do not compare your inheritance with others. I mean, think about how they distributed the land. They cast lots. That wasn't about trying to satisfy human desires. It was a way of seeking God's will. The whole process was designed to stop people from fighting over who got the quote-unquote best land. The core idea here was trust. You had to trust that the portion you received was exactly the one you were meant to have.
There's this verse in Psalm 16 that just perfectly captures this attitude. It's a bold declaration of faith and contentment. It's all about training your eyes to see the beauty and the blessing inside the specific boundary lines that have been drawn for your life, instead of constantly looking over the fence at what somebody else has.
Okay, so let's recap. Inheritance is a mission to fulfill, and it's also a provision to receive. Got it? Seems pretty clear, right? But just when you think you've got the formula all figured out, the story throws this amazing curveball at us. A fascinating exception. There's a tribe that received no land at all. And it's this twist that's going to reveal the absolute deepest meaning of what inheritance is all about.
The text itself seems pretty clear. The land is going to be divided among the tribes. And in total, 12 portions of land are handed out. You've got 9.5 tribes settling west of the Jordan River and the other 2.5 to the east. Simple math, right?
Well, not quite. If you're paying really close attention to the details, you'll spot a little math problem. So Jacob, right? He originally had 12 sons. But one of his sons, Joseph, had his own 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, and they were counted as their own separate, full-fledged tribes. So, wait a minute. That actually brings the total number of tribes to 13. So if 12 of them get land, who's the one that gets left out?
The missing tribe is the tribe of Levi. And the reason why is just absolutely profound. Their inheritance wasn't a physical plot of land. Their inheritance was God Himself. Think about that. While all the other tribes were out there working the soil to get their provision, the Levites had a different job. They were tasked with serving God, with leading the people in worship, living a life that was supplied directly by Him.
So that raises the question, if they didn't have their own land, where did the Levites even live? And the sermon we're drawing from has this fantastic and kind of funny analogy. Think about a pepperoni pizza, right? You don't want all the pepperoni clumped together on one slice, do you? No way! You want it spread out so that every single slice gets some of that flavor. Well, the Levites were just like that pepperoni. They were scattered throughout all the other tribes, and in doing so, they became this constant, living reminder in every single territory that, yeah, the land is a wonderful gift, but God Himself is the ultimate inheritance for everyone.
Okay, so now let's bring all these powerful ideas together. It's time to see the full, 3-dimensional picture of what this word, inheritance, truly means. It's a concept that's working on a few different levels all at once, and each one builds on the last.
You can really see how these layers just flow right into each other. So first, you've got your mission. These are the specific people and places that you are responsible for. But you're not just sent out empty-handed, right? That mission is fueled and sustained by your provision. These are your unique talents, your relationships, all the joys that keep you going. And both of these things, the work you do and the blessings you receive, they are all pointing toward the real treasure, the ultimate inheritance, God Himself. He's the source of all meaning and the one who truly supplies every single one of our needs.
And all of this leaves us with one final, really powerful question to take with us. When you look at the land of your own life, all your relationships, your responsibilities, your opportunities, how are you going to choose to see it? How are you going to faithfully cultivate your mission? How are you going to gratefully receive your provision? And maybe most importantly, how are you going to do it all while remembering who your ultimate inheritance truly is?